Hi guys, it's Jessica D 1987 coming at you guys tonight with a couple of videos. This first video is going to talk about my experience as an active duty Marine. I cannot speak on any experiences as far as reservists go or any experiences as far as other branches are concerned. Lately I've been getting a lot of comments and questions coming from some of my subscribers and some of the viewers of my military videos asking different questions because either they're in the military or they're thinking about joining. So I'm just going to briefly go over my experience during the during the only 4 years that I spent active duty in the Marine Corps. I decided I wanted to go in the Marine Corps my last year of high school, a couple of months before I graduated. I got recruited out of Pensacola, Florida. I went to boot camp in Parris Island, Beaufort, South Carolina. What to expect there pretty much is it's 3 months, it's 13 weeks long, and that's pretty much training 7 days a week. You do not get the weekends off. You do not get time to yourself for the most part, except for when you're sleeping at night. And on Sundays, you have about 4 hours that you spend kind of to yourself, but you're in the squad bay, cleaning, writing letters, doing your hair, whatever stuff you pretty much didn't get the time to focus on during the week because you were training. After those 13 weeks, you graduate and you go off to something that's called, well, you get boot leave, which is a little mini vacation, if you will, for 10 days. And then you go to MOS school if you have not chosen to do recruiter's assistance, which is about 30 days or something like that. Sometimes it could be less or more depending on your situation, where you spend that time helping your recruiter recruit more people to join your branch of service. If you are like a lot of people, after your 10 days of boot leave, you go on to something that's called MCT, which is Marine Combat Training. There it's about 21 days long, about 3 weeks long, where you'll spend that time, you'll spend that time training once again different combat skills and being out in the field for a couple of weeks, learning what it's like to do how to properly work with your weapon and hand-to-hand combat and different things of that nature. After you graduate from there, you go on to what is called your MOS school, your Military Occupational Specialty School, which is what you'll be doing as a job while you're in the Marine Corps. Once you get there, you'll spend everyone's is different, anywhere from 4 weeks to a year. It depends on what your MOS is. You'll spend that time there. And there is a little bit more stability because you go to school in the mornings and you're done in the afternoons, probably around 4 o'clock or so. And that time is pretty much to yourself until you have a formation at the end of the evening to make sure that everyone is accounted for, everyone is where they're supposed to be. And then they'll start up again. Once you get done with that school and you graduate from there, you'll go on to your duty station. Once you get to your duty station, you'll be learning your job, finding out who you'll be working with, and once again, it's a day-to-day job. You work from 7 o'clock, let's say, until 5 o'clock, 4:30 in the afternoon, and that time is pretty much to yourself unless you have duty and other things like that. So the beginning is probably the hardest, and then a lot of people get a lot of freedom once they get into active duty, and their active duty station, a lot of them haven't been away from home, and they start to act crazy because now they're old enough to drink. Well, not old enough to drink, but, you know, old enough to smoke and hang out. And this is the most freedom a lot of people have had since, you know, they're 18 years old for the most part. And they don't know how to handle that responsibility. I met my husband when he was on his way out of the Marine Corps. And I was just getting in back in January 2006. We got pregnant with our daughter, our first child. Right after that, not right after, but shortly after we got together. So that changed my whole perspective and lifestyle in the Marine Corps because now I was going to be a parent. And so that affects a lot of things. So if you're thinking about having children, or if you have a child before you go in, that's something to also consider. Once I got there, I had my daughter, and I still, you know, maintained my job. I didn't change jobs because some people's jobs can change if they're pregnant depending on what you can do and what job you were doing. And then my situation changed a lot because I had 2 more children while I was in. You know, I had got married to the father of my children, and life was hectic for the most part because you're still expected to perform your job, which that's not an excuse because you're a parent, and you still have duty, you still have responsibilities, especially if you're an NCO, which is, you know, an E4 and below, above. And so those are things that you can look forward to expect. I mean, my experience as an African-American woman, mother, wife, it's difficult at times, but that should be no excuse for you not to do your job and to do it well. If you guys have any more specific questions pertaining to my experience in the Marine Corps or in the military in general, please feel free to leave a comment on my page or leave a comment below, and I'll make sure I'll get back to you guys. So I hope this helped. I hope this made you guys feel like you can relate to me a little bit more. And again, if you guys have any comments or questions, please leave them below. I will greatly appreciate them. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.